Okay, so it's super hot in here, just 130, that's all. So if I start breathing hard, y'all know why. So we're gonna do just a quick kind of beginner's workout today with yoga. So if you wanna join me on your backs, we're just gonna start laying flat on our back, maybe take a few moments to take some big deep breaths, just breathing fully into your tummy, maybe taking this opportunity to set an intention for your practice. Maybe it's strength, maybe it's perseverance, maybe it's just giving yourself a little bit of grace, knowing that you can't do everything perfectly and neither can I, and we'll just use this time to connect with our bodies and our breath. So on an inhale, draw your knees up to your chest, maybe make a few circles on the ceiling, rolling out your ankles possibly. Go ahead and keep your right knee into your chest, straighten that left leg down, extend the right leg up to the ceiling, maybe grab onto your calf if you want a little bit more. Sorry, this is a weird view, I'll just kind of move over. Maybe pull your head to your chest, or head to your shin, just to get a little bit more of a stretch, and then bending that knee, taking it across the body for a twist, trying to keep your, right shoulder on the ground, and then get your right knee to touch the ground on the other side. So this may not be accessible in your body, it may not be accessible yet in the practice. Just kind of honor yourself and do what works for you. Gonna rise up, this time straightening the leg and then letting it fall out to the other side. So in this one, we want to keep that left hip rooted into the ground and just see how far that leg can go to the side. Awesome, bringing it back into your chest, switching out your legs, maybe take a second to pass through Happy Baby. Again, sorry for the camera view, not a good angle for me, or anyone for that matter. Maybe you want to straighten your legs in Happy Baby, see if you can get your feet closer to the floor. And you know, when your knees are bent in Happy Baby, the goal is to kind of be pulling your knees towards the floor, but keeping your lower back still pressed into the floor. You don't want it to lift up like that. So anyway, straighten out the right leg, bringing the left leg into the chest, extending it up, again, grabbing onto your calf, maybe pulling your head up. If you want a little bit more, just feeling that stretch. You can try pointing your toe, flexing, pointing, flexing, rolling your ankle, and then bend the knee and just guide it across the body. So again, this time we want the knee to try to reach for the ground, that left knee, but then keeping your left shoulder rooted on the ground, so stuck to the floor is important, so we can really get that twist in the mid-body. Awesome. Okay, bring the knees back together. Maybe pass through one more Happy Baby. See if your knees go a little bit further down or your legs go a little bit further down. Then we're gonna rock and roll up to a tabletop position. So shoulders right on top of the wrists, fingers spread wide, pushing into your hands. Eye of your elbow is facing that thumb. We just take a moment here maybe to rock back and forth, warming up our wrists, maybe going side to side, maybe flipping them all the way around, really stretching out your forearms. And then we're gonna go back, finding that neutral position. This is the same hand position we'll have in plank, in downward dog, so it's important to kind of get set up in a way that you have a alignment here. So take a moment just to do a few cat-cow. So on an inhale, let your belly drop. And then on an exhale, push and round through the upper back. One more time. Inhale, let the sit bones drop, the tailbone reaches up, head reaches up, and then push hard up, rounding through that upper back and shoulder blade area. Awesome. Coming down to a neutral spine, we'll move into sunbird. So right arm out, left leg back, making length across the body, really focusing on pushing and grounding into that left hand, putting all your weight there without dropping into your shoulder like this, but just kind of staying nice and neutral, tight through the core. On an inhale, we'll bring the elbow knee together for 3, 2, 1, and then go ahead if you have it in your practice and we'll go into Chapasana. So it may be here, it may just be grabbing your foot, and that's awesome. It may not even be grabbing your foot, and that's okay too. But push into your hand, which you can't even see me, so I'll move to the side, but might fall, that's fine. Just fall, it's cool. But we'll seriously push into your hand, just kind of stretching out. Whoop, apparently turning sideways on the mat disrupts the balance, so you know, might happen to you too. Anyway, so back down to neutral, and then this time we're gonna go into the left side. So again, pushing, extending long, pushing into that right hand, making length, and then drawing the elbow and knee together for 3, 2, 1. Reaching back for that Shavasana. Maybe I won't fall this time. Maybe I will. You never know. All right, and then back down. Awesome. We're gonna tuck our toes, lift our hips, moving into downward facing dog. This is the first downward facing dog of our practice, so we'll just take a moment to set it up a little bit. We should be pushing hard into our shoulders. You can push, if your goal is to be working on handstands, you might be pushing your shoulders up by your ears. If not, or if it feels better, you might be pulling, retracting those shoulder blades down the spine. Either way, the tailbone should be the apex of the pose. Legs can be straight, legs can be bent. You want to be pushing your heels though down towards the ground. If your heels can touch, maybe take a minute to fluff up your toes. Maybe you just need to kind of stretch and move through this first downward dog, kind of warming up all the muscles in your body, depending on where you're at today. We will move forward into plank. Again, we're gonna take just a second to set this up. So your body should be one straight line. Your belly should be kind of carved into a C shape. Just holding, pushing through your hands, just keeping strong arms, no bent arms, just straight, rooting into those hands. Maybe bring some awareness to your fingers at this point, gripping into the mat, kind of like you're trying to wrinkle up the towel. We'll go ahead and move into one chaturanga. So elbows drop straight back, push and round through the upper back at the top. Flipping over to right side arm balance. Again, here you want to lift up through the hips, trying to make as much space between your hips and the floor as possible. You might need to take a kickstand, and that's okay too. We are going to do 3 lifts. So we're going to lower our hip and lift all the way up for 3, 2, 1, just to show that option without your foot. Back to plank, one more chaturanga, elbows straight back, push, round, you know, and the chaturangas can be done on your knees, they can be shoulder taps, they can be whatever you need for your body. Now we're in this left side arm balance. We're gonna lower our hips for 3, 2, 1. And one last chaturanga, down into up dog. So toes can be tucked, they can be untucked. Just taking an opportunity to stretch out your belly, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. On an inhale, the right leg flies. Really thinking about keeping your hips at a neutral, keeping your pelvis squared towards the front of the room rather than opening your hip and letting everything kind of squish. So pushing hard into your arms, lift that foot. You can step or hop to the front of the mat. I'll show a step. So step, you want to try to keep your hands flat on the ground, rising up to crescent pose. I actually do a modified crescent. So front knee is bent, hips are squared towards the front of the mat. We're going to go ahead and open the chest, pressing the hips forward, and then round, closing it off. One more time, open and close, rounding it the chest off. Go ahead and plant. Actually, we're gonna do a twist. So on an inhale, making length and twisting over your front knee. Just taking this opportunity to really warm up the body, twist. Shoulders should try to be squared towards the wall on this side, whatever side you're facing, because I don't really do right and left that good. So rise up. We're gonna plant our hands and move into rotated triangle. So the left hand is planted, right hand reaches up. Again, just thinking about that twist, stacking the shoulders. Both legs should be straight, should be tracking heel to toe. Awesome, go ahead and rise up into full crescent now. And we'll just go ahead and do a couple lunges. So feet are toes are pointed towards the front of the room, hips are squared towards the front. We're just gonna bend into both knees for 3, 2, 1. Really thinking about that knee tracking in between the first and second toes. Gonna rise up, On an inhale, we'll move to warrior two. So inhale, the back foot goes at a 45-degree angle, knee is tracking the front toe, pushing the air down like it's heavy. Go ahead and on an inhale, rise up, and on an exhale, sink down a little bit deeper into the pose. Hips are now facing the wall at the other side of the room. I'm gonna flip the front palm and reverse. So legs stay the same. We're just making length on the side, right side of the body. And moving into side angle. You can rest your front arm on your knee. You can reach for the floor, whatever works best in your body. Just kind of taking this moment to stretch out the left side now. And one more time, reverse warrior. Again, those legs are still staying the same, and back to the side angle. If you have a half wrap in your practice, you can bend that upper arm, rest your hand on your lower back. If you have a full wrap, you can reach through your legs. Maybe you're gonna get wild, do a little half moon action. Then lower down and cartwheel those arms to the top, back to downward facing dog. Take a moment, stretch everything out. Bob your head. Take a second to check back in with your attention. Was it strength? Was it perseverance? Maybe it's your chance to power yourself up so we can do that other side. So lift the left leg up, and again, you can step or hop to the top. I'm gonna hop this time, so jumping off of this leg. So it's really important when you're hopping to think about keeping those hips squared and hopping the foot to the front. Down to that modified crescent. We'll open the chest and close it out. Hips are squared to the front, open and close it out. One more time, really open, and this is up to you. Big arch, little arch, whatever honors your body. Close it out, round through the upper back. Go ahead and hands to heart center, twist, making length, squaring your shoulders to the left side, or however you're working it in your body today, but you know, the side towards the leg. Shoulders are kind of stacked on top of each other. Rising back up, we're gonna move into that rotated triangle. So planting the right hand, straightening both legs, hips squared to the front of the room, opening up on the side of the body, gazes to that wall or up to the hand, shoulders are stacked, trying to kind of stay in a single plane. Legs should be both straight. You might need a block for your hand, and that's totally okay. Rising up into full crescent and then shifting into warrior two. Hips are opening to the right side of the room, knees tracking between the first and second toes, back leg is straight, back foot's at a 45-degree angle, pressing the air down like it's heavy. Deep breath, inhale, rising up, and then sink deeper into that front knee. Flipping the front palm, reverse warrior. Sorry you can't see my upper half, but you know, it's fine. And side angle. So again, arm can rest here on your knee, can reach for the floor. You can put a block down there if you want to start working towards the floor. Whatever you want to do, just kind of continuing to stay firm in your legs. The legs are not changing. Hips aren't changing. The only thing that's moving is our obliques and our side body. One more time, reverse. Stretch out that side. Awesome. And down, back to that lateral side angle. Again, this can be a half wrap. You bend your arm, place it on your back, lower back, maybe reach through. Maybe you go into that half moon variation. Maybe you fall. It's cool. I almost did. It's fine. Kind of did. Anyway, and then cartwheel the hands to the top and downward facing dog. Awesome. Take a moment, stretching things out. Then we're gonna move to the floor for a second. So you are going to step through, maybe on your tippy toes. Maybe you make it to here. Maybe put some blocks here on either side and use those to step through, possibly. You look forward, jump, hop through. So no hesitation there. Reaching up into staff and then folding over your feet. So in this forward flow, a lot of people, you know, in gym class, we learn to have our back straight and kind of reach. But what we want to do is really round. So you can make a lot of space. So rounding that pelvis. See this pelvic tilt. You have to tilt your pelvis if you want to get further. So, I mean, I can touch my toes either way, but really tilting the pelvis and rounding. kind of allows you, on the back, allows you to get further into this pose. But again, it's all about you. I mean, you might be right here and this might stretch, and that's cool. So anyway, after that, we're gonna go ahead and move down to our back. And we'll go to the side here this way. So here on our back, just gonna do some core. We'll start with some regular crunches, so knees bent, just crunching up for 3, 2, 1. You can pause here and do more core, but I'm just showing some options for my fan bam, because that's my only fan base, so it's fine. Anyway, not that I need a fan base. Okay, that was weird. Anyway, so right knee, right or left elbow. So we're crossing into the body and then straightening that leg. So the left leg's staying the same, but we're just crossing, doing a little bit of core like this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now the other way. So elbow to knee for 3, 2, 1. Okay, we did more than that, so let's do 5 more. I don't know. 4, 3, 2, 1. Super. Anyway, feet towards the top. Let's do some hip lifts. So you're just lifting using your abs. This isn't using your legs. It's not bouncing. It's just contracting here, pulling the thighs kind of into the chest and then lifting. So do 3 more. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and lay your legs down flat and then just do some little crunches. So reaching towards your toes, rounding, getting your shoulders off the mat. If you have some neck problems, you can put your hands here. Oh, can't see my head, but put my hands behind my head. Let's do 3 more. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. So back to the front of the mat. We're gonna go ahead and rock up. Try to stand up without using your hands. I'm going to the back of the mat, but effort is getting it here. So then squatting back into chair. So like you're sitting into a chair, your hips go back, your knees are squeezing together. Try to make sure your knees are in line. You don't want one forward and be all wonky, but hips square towards the front of the room. Possibly a twist here. So inhale and then just twist. Again, check in with those knees. Make sure one isn't trying to dart forward. Just trying to make some length and spin your chest open towards the side of the room. Back up to chair and then twist to the other side. Awesome. Okay, on an inhale, rising up and just bending over your front. Bending over, reaching for the floor. Maybe take a moment to spread your legs wide and just rock side to side, stretching out your spine before we move into the next part of our workout. So from here, walk your hands to the front of the mat, downward facing dog. Check back in with your intention. Are you getting strong? Are you persevering? Are you just finding some mental space for your thoughts to quiet down as you focus on your body? All of these things can be happening. These are all good things. On an inhale, rising up with the right leg. Again, think about those squared hips, pushing firm, step or hop the right leg to the front of the mat. Full crescent pose. This time we're gonna go into pyramid. So we'll straighten out both legs, hips pull to the back, and hands go to the floor. So both toes are pointing towards the front of the room. You might need blocks here, and that's perfectly fine, more accessible for most people. But so your hands are planted, your front leg's straight. Really think about squaring your hips to the front of the room again. We don't want our hip to be all cattywampus because that doesn't feel good. Maybe that does feel good in your body. I'm not sure, but if it does, I guess power to you, but I'd really think about those hips. And then rising up, full crescent pose. We'll move into Warrior 2 just to transition to triangle. So Warrior 2, you have a bent front leg. So to move into triangle, we're straighten this front leg. Pull your right hip back towards, so you're kind of making an angle with your hips, and then reaching down. So this can be active and you don't touch anything. It can be passive. You could put a block right here. You could put your hand on your leg. The point is just to kind of spin open, making some length and room in this front plane of the body. So really think about pulling your shoulder back so your shoulders are stacked. Tuck your ribs possibly. Awesome. And rising up. We're gonna go ahead and open both legs, so spinning heels in, toes out, and moving into goddess pose. So do a few pulses here. Forgot to start my watch. A few pulses here for 3, 2, 1. I like to do a few calf raises for 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Turning it back towards the front of the mat, cartwheeling your hands down, downward facing dog. Super. We are almost done with this flow, so stay with me. I promise you're gonna make it and you're gonna be stronger. You're gonna be proud of yourself. Or you've just spent all this time laughing at me, which is certainly possible and also okay. So hips squared towards the ground, bringing that knee, so I'll show the step through. So my hands are planted, I'm not lifting my fingers. This is important because this will help you build that ability to round the upper back and step forward. So rising up to crescent, we're gonna go straight into pyramid. So toes are facing the front of the room, hips are facing the front, hands go down, straighten the front leg. Again, blocks might be your option. Maybe the floor. Probably not for most people who are just starting out. I've been doing it a solid bit and I've always been super flexible. So anyway, it's okay to use blocks. Totally normal. Hips are facing the front, legs are straight. Go ahead and rise back up into that crescent, transitioning to warrior 2, and then straightening the front knee, moving into triangle. Hips pulling towards the back, again, folding over. So again, this can be active. This is using a lot of muscles, kind of hurts. Putting your hand on a block, putting your hand on a leg, ankle, shin, just not your knee because that would hurt. Shin, calf, I mean, if that's where you're at, that's where you're at. But kind of just making length, spreading the chest open, really tucking in your ribs, just stacking the shoulders, gaze can go up. If that feels good to you. And rising up, cartwheeling hands to the front of the mat, taking a downward dog, maybe dropping into your knees, moving into a child's pose. And that is my first little intro to yoga for all my friends and family who have said that they wanted me to make them a video so they could start learning it. And I feel super awkward, but I did it for y'all and it'll be good learning for me. So if there's anything that you feel like I could have explained better, just holla at me. That was weird. Okay, anyway, thanks. Namaste.